up here. A rotation was coming by the Skywrath, but it's bottom lane actually where there's going to be the first blood. I miss it. I admit it. I'll own up to it, folks. Yep, gets the back end of it.
Concussive shot, Searing Chains, just chase him down with some Flame Guard.
I got a front row seat for this one though. Bottom lane, Batrider's in trouble. Frozen up, zapped, fade bolted, cut all the action. Mid lane, a little bit of a trade here, a fight over the rune nearby.
Oh, is that the kill order coming out from Inflame in all chat? He gave him the dot.
The direction up and above, nearby in the river.
Yeah.
DDC though is in trouble. They get the telekinesis, pull back into a stun, and he is easily killed.
The story of this early game, basically ended up being a smoke to ward. We were expecting the support duo, the Skywrath and Sand King, to be making plays, or at least I was, from LFY. Instead, it's been the opposite. Yao and
Gonna head top instead, where an Ember goes aggressive.
Whoa, dunk to try to stop him in his place, but it does look like Monet will be able to burn through 11. Now, if he sticks around with this pole camp, he could be in a bit of trouble, but it does look like he turns the other direction just as Victoria tries to go in. But Ame steps in, hits him with the chrono, and now the Soul Siphon should help get the finish. The telekinesis nicely timed, so he can't even attempt any sort of escape.
yeah, this is really kind of feels like a role reversal. Like if you had blanked out the team's names and you asked me to guess which one was LFY, I'd have gone with the Radiant here. The pushing tempo mid, getting these ganks and taking towers. The reactive style I don't think really fits LFY very well, as we see Inflame might go down again bottom by the tower.
Yes, he does.
And this LGD is kind of, it feels like they're stealing LFY's thunder a little bit with this playstyle. Now the Flame might go down again bottom by the tower.
Yes, he does.
And this LGD is kind of, it feels like they're stealing LFY's thunder a little bit with this playstyle. Now this game is going so far.
Teams that do train together, and perhaps LGD have taken a page out of LFY's book, thinking we can play your strat and beat you with it. As so far, things are going pretty smoothly for the LGD team with their early game.
That is interesting. I mean, I imagine outside of already the couple times they've played each other in officials, this is a team that likely practice with each other a lot, so I don't know if this is something that was expected from LFY or not, but I'm sure it's something LGD welcomed the idea of mirroring.
Nice pass bottom.
Ooh, does connect.
Looking
And
for a bash, he didn't get it.
Bullying this Batrider in the bottom lane.
Just popped a Mask of Madness on inside, right-clicking the bat, but didn't find a time lock. If he did with the Ice Blast, likely a kill. Very close.
Alright, forget my alt-up camera here. We got some chitlins. Here we go. Top lane. A swift burrow out from Afu. He avoids the extra trouble there. But LGD are persistent.
Yeah, and they're persistent, but at the same time they're not over-pushing their boundaries. Like, 2 Death Prophet ultimates we've seen, neither actually fully took down a tower. Made it got to a couple hundred HP, they kill it later or gets denied, but either way, the philosophy is don't fully commit to a tower where we may die for it as Exorcism ends. And same thing top, they get the kill, use Exorcism, they get the tower down low, but they don't worry about finishing it off. It may lead to another tower deny. Unfortunately, I'm missing out on some gold, but they are still getting the map control out of this.
Bottom lane jump, silence, and quick execution of Ame. Really didn't even have the chance. Good smoke rotation comes out from LFY. They'll be rewarded there. As a response, LGD continue the pressure through their top lane, and last hit. Oh, not good timing there for 11. But he's going to work his way closer to getting that Blink Dagger online.
What's interesting to look at is kind of the initiation range of both teams. Obviously, like, you're going to need a Blink Dagger up on this Magnus, which after that kill he's only a few hundred gold, 500 gold away, and then the Batrider was very far away from his before they really start to do things, because otherwise the heroes don't directly threaten objectives very well. So if you're talking about like Magnus and Ember, like for the most part it's not going to be safe for them to be standing at a tower and just hitting the tower itself. Versus you have maybe with this ult right now working on the top tower, you have the Void who even without the Blink Dagger can initiate from a bit away. Like, these are heroes that present an imminent threat either to heroes or to your objectives without necessarily needing the items to do so. And as we see a kill there onto Monet bottom by Ame, that's going to be an issue for LFY. Like, it just feels like their lineup is very gimpy and not really capable of doing much at this point until they have some crucial items up, and that's been a concession of early tempo that LGD has taken advantage of.
Yeah, Blink's being the name of the game for this dire side, and they're halfway to the Sand King Blink, the Magnus a lot closer. Perhaps we'll see the first big aggressive smoke move coming out of LFY with that item pickup. But again, we just see LGD using ultis, using their spells, finding kills. The Chronosphere plus Ice Blast nets a kill bottom lane. Meanwhile, Death Prophet again, you just using this ultimate almost off cooldown just to dish out damage. Gets the top tier 2 tower, not even down to half HP, but still does some damage. And is just looking to kind of play a more methodical game as time goes on, and LFY are not defending any of these objectives at this stage.
Yeah, and it's just, even if you don't get the tower, it's just pressure. You're forcing them to rotate. They're not getting their own farm, not getting anything from the jungle. It's slowing down their timings because they have to come react to you. And at the same time, while they're reacting to you, they don't really have a threat to kill you yet at this point until their crucial items come online. There's counter initiation in droves from LGD, and you know, even with just the Earthshaker behind him or the Void, they can either set a trap, which LFY is going to be afraid to fight into, or just their presence is going to stop. It's going to keep maybe safe while he pounds on the tower. So.
This is a fast-moving bog. If they're trying to be bog, this is like real fast, though. I feel like that not even LFY when they do this, it just kind of moves forward this quickly. I mean, it's so fast-moving that LFY can't even get their own tower going. As they try to like move on forward, it feels like LGD are already trying to pressure our tower hard enough to get almost all of LFY out of attendance here. As we see in the top lane, a move going to be made in. Bat Rider able to get the lasso play, but Super Mixer jump gets a good 2-man chrono, leads to a nice 2-man burrow strike. Yao steps in with the Ice Blast here, but LGD surviving. Turn around, slam it down with a dunk, and get the finish onto Super. Bat Rider also going to get dropped, and DDC tries to coast himself out from trouble here, but down and below, Afu not so lucky. He gets batted down, and it's going to be Ame who picks that one up, and just in time for an exorcism coming out from Maybe means that they can clean out this tier 2 and maybe even get some pressure on the high ground.
And there you go. That's exactly what we're describing. There weren't Blink Daggers up yet on LFY, with the exception of Super, who just showed off his Magnus Blink Dagger. So that reduces the range at which they can start fights. They started fights on 2 separate fronts right there. The Bat Rider went up top on the kind of northern end, and then Super came around from below for the RP, but just lacking that extra bit of oomph, and then they had to get a little bit closer than they'd like to for initiation. The tempo is just not there because they don't have the crucial items up on their course, and then LGD were able to weather that, survive that, and then just end up turning it around and then take the tower. So another big loss there from LFY.
I think what we're also seeing is that as much as Death Prophet's kind of talked about as being like an ulti-dependent hero, this hero is very strong fighting without ultimate just because of Spirit Siphon. It does a large amount of damage while healing yourself. You're such a strong frontliner that Death Prophet just sat there tanking damage, dishing it out while healing herself, and the LFY had no way of like getting past her other than like the Bat Rider who kind of swooped over. It doesn't even kill a Rubik, but Bat Rider couldn't get any backup because of how hard to get through the Death Prophet is.
Yeah, this is a hero that puts pressure in the sense that, like, a little bit Venomancer sense, where like if you fight him, you usually just want to go on him and burst him down. If the fight drags on and she's still alive, then the fight starts to look really bad. And then you saw there they weren't really confident in taking her down directly because they didn't actually initiate onto her at all. They wanted to blow up the supports, and maybe isolate her, or maybe get out before she can respond, or bog anyone down enough, or obviously cancel TPs. Yeah. That just didn't work out at all, and she just kind of went unscathed while things were happening around her.
Now you're saying in that skirmish, you know, we see it that LFY are lacking quite a bit of that damage, and you know, you're saying that the cores, they obviously need a lot more time before they can get to that level, but do you think it was the appropriate build-up for Monet to go the Boots of Travel? Why not something like the Veil then, so you can get that extra bit of magical burst for maybe one of these team fight, you know, windows that have approached in the game?
This seems more like a late game oriented build, and he's going to go physical damage with the Empower. I think the Veil Ember build is becoming less and less popular. I'm seeing a lot more Embers get the damage talent over the Spell Amp talent, and just playing more like a late game build.
Ooh, mid lane, yeah, Echo, and the Ice Blast.
I think the bigger thing is, I mean, we keep harping on these blinks, but the damage output is there if they can land their spells. The problem is you can't land an Epicenter Burrow Strike without a Blink Dagger. You can't land a good lasso on a key target without a Blink Dagger. He has to Firefly over the trees, and he grabs a Rubik. I'm not even sure if that was like the ideal hero to grab for him. I think he just felt like he had to grab whoever he saw.
The first person he saw.
Yeah, and with the Blink Dagger, you can actually be selective. You can jump that Death Prophet a lot easier. You can jump that Faceless Void because all you have to do is be able to see the heroes. It's not like you have to walk into them. You try to walk up to a Death Prophet, you're going to get Spirit Siphon, she's going to use you, and you're going to feed. So I think the idea is less about like getting any big items and more about just completing these blinks, getting better initiations. Problem is, you're now versing an Aegis, LGD, the bog is moving very quickly, as we've kind of touched upon. I think the LFY playstyle normally takes a bit longer to get going when they have these kind of 5-man Death Ball lineups, but LGD have taken now 3 outer towers at Roshan and likely to take a couple, like probably the rest of these outer towers while they've got this Aegis.
Yeah, and they probably noticed just now that Afu managed to pick up his Blink Dagger. He died earlier to old 11, right just shy of his Blink, so came down, and this is going to be the first fight with Blink, and LGD know that LFY are here. They've got excellent map vision right now. Usually you see Dire with some kind of control over the Radiant jungle. It makes it difficult for them to farm it, and not the case right now, as LFY are very much on the back foot. They've got to be careful here.
Yeah, they came down here with an approach like they wanted to do something, but either not having enough intel to read the bottom half of the map that LGD could be there waiting. They're just too nervous, too hesitant. They decide to pull out entirely and go back through the motions of farming. I like that. I don't know if it's been acknowledged, but it looks like Super is going to be moving for that Echo Saber to help with the damage. Maybe after he lands the big RP, he can just, you know, right-click in some work.
Yeah, it probably feels like they've got enough lockdown and control. He doesn't need to go for a utility build. It is a mid-Magnus as well. So, fair enough. But at this point, the farm game is not one I feel like is going to win LFY the game. Ember definitely perhaps the shining hope of the late game, which is where we're going to see this Empower Ember. Very hard to push into. High ground is going to be tough for LGD, but you just stick that Death Prophet there with Exorcism and you may actually be strong enough to even go for a high ground push.
Bad Rider's super close to that Blink Dagger now. It's just about going to pick it up here as LGD are looking to breach another tower in this bottom lane. They're just going through each lane, sucking up all the resources there, leaving LFY with, unfortunately, very little options to be able to move out and farm safely.
Something I really like that Ame's doing on the Void is he's just AFK jungling, farming, which is not good because, I mean, it's good because he's farming, but the really good thing about this is he's missing from the map, so for the longest time, LFY don't see him. They see him now as he walks through a ward, but when he's jungling and off the map, they're scared. Pushing this top lane is not easy to do if there's... You see 4 heroes, but the one you don't see is a Void. He could be initiating in with a Chrono, Ice Blast from afar, and then TP support, and just blows up your entire team. So it's very difficult. This top lane would have been pushed to the tier 2 by now if they knew where the Void was.
Well, they call the Void into action because they're looking to move in to the high ground area and try to at least force out some rotations from LFI. Well, it looks like they got what they wanted.
Job done, yeah. They force out those rotations. Exorcism kind of ends. They TP top. Masame gets picked. Everything's kind of gone according to plan here, although there may be an initiation.
Quick jump. There is a tower right behind him. Can they burst him fast enough before the rotations come? No, he's able to get the time walk off. He turns around with a Chrono onto 2, and this could be disaster for LFY. Beautiful follow from 11. Hits him with the fissure, hit the enchant. They catch Afu as well. Oh boy.
Yeah, that's why you get the strength talent on Void. Every time I see someone get that plus 15 attack speed, I'm like, your hero is about getting time walk off, and you need health to get that time walk off.
Yeah, and he had the Manta as well with some more stats, and that's the timing has a lot to do with that, because if that same gank happens, say 3 or 4 minutes earlier, the Void very likely goes down. He's got that much less itemization or HP, but it doesn't because of the difficult start that LFY had. And those things just, I mean, the reversal there, instead of picking off the Void, both of them die.
The time walk when he gets all of his life back is probably when the heart actually broke.
The most demoralizing thing to see.
Oh no! And then he's like, "Oh, hold on a second." Turn around, Chrono.
It's such a tilty hero to try and gank. If you can get so close and then be so far because he just heals everything back, and then you try to go again and he gets another time walk off.
Those kind of moments make you feel like he's like super OP.
Yeah.
But
that's when you bust out your OS frogs and just start complaining. This hero needs nerfs. The old Void used to be super strong and OP.
That's interesting in the core choices from LGD, like the kind of similar trait that they both have, where like if you fight into them, you basically have to burst them down. If you get into like an entangled, like if you get into a bogged down, drawn out, protracted fight with them, they'll get their HP back. Like they have a lot of value, like basically self-heal almost in a sense.
It's good because they don't have those defensive supports, so well, the cores can kind of just keep themselves alive well. So we're allowed to have maybe a little bit more of these kind of proactive team fight kind of supports.
Well, for LFY, we'll see where their hopes lie. Aegis expires. Very kind of characteristic for this LGD team with this Death Prophet. just to not care about actually committing fully to the high ground with an Aegis. They're just playing the map control game. They could have just not had an Aegis. It just acted as like a bit of gold as well as like a slight safety buffer.
Uh-oh. They found Boss Man.
Uh,
I swear to God, you guys are all off the team. Bat goes down 14-3. It actually doesn't even feel like it's that dramatic, but you see the numbers there.
Yeah.
The farm is a little bit closer, but still a 7K advantage for LGD, and it doesn't seem to be stopping yet, but here's a big move from LFY. Good setup with the Burrow, with the Mystic Flare, and with the RP. But is it going to be enough to finish off LGD here? We see now maybe dishing out the Exorcism and just sucking the life away of the remaining fighters, and he keeps going at it. Can he get the triple? No, Ame's going to pick it up, but still a 4-for-2 trade, and LFY had a pretty good start to that.
yeah.
Yeah, you see the synergy from their lineup, and you see like what they're kind of going for. The Sand King with the nice 2-man burrow strike. The RP actually ended up pulling their heroes out of the Skywrath ult, so that was a little bit unfortunate. But they ended up killing those two without the Mystic Flare, but it just didn't have enough gas left in the tank to deal with the cores of LGD. And there's just no way they were going to win the fight with their big ult expended, and we could see a very quick GG here in Game 1.
Yeah, I think if you're using those big ults, you need to be killing Void or Death Prophet. You can't be once you throw big ults to kill supports, and even the Earthshaker as an offlaner, it means this Death Prophet and Void are suddenly unkillable. You can't actually deal with this Void when he's got Time Walk, the Spirit Siphon.
Okay, oh my goodness, just beautiful 2-man chrono leads to a 2-man Soul Siphon. Monet tries to step in. Him and Super will try to make the best of the situation. They get the move onto Victoria, but there comes the dunk right in the midst of it. And it's a hot scramble right now of LFY members just falling all over the place here. Afu trying to scramble down south to hide, but they just throw in the towel. They can't do anything else. It's just all in Grim for LFY. As grim as my camera work that game, but it's done.
That was a massive fissure from 11 from the trees, hitting, I think, 4 heroes. Rubik had a stolen Searing Chains, just was